everybody, this is Grimmy, and today I will be explaining my Possessed Sam AU. First things first though, you know the drill. Go watch the animatics, audiobook and or fanfic, and the Q&A livestream where I go through all the animatics and read questions. I will not be explaining the blatantly obvious that I have already spelled out for you. Get those critical thinking and media literacy brain cells going. So Grimmy, why did you make this AU to begin with? Very simply, character Sam, who I will be calling Sam for the rest of the video, is one of the smartest and most efficient characters on the SMP, yet also one of the most vulnerable. Seeing the messed up state he was in after Puffy and Tommy released him from being trapped on the egg, I thought it would be really interesting to see what could have happened if Sam had been completely taken over. I decided to take it a step further and turn it into a mini-series with a beginning, middle and end. Essentially, it's a sort of character study for my own enjoyment. For reference, this is how I see the egg's true form. Thank you for the commission, you know who you are. Using this as a base, I wanted to make Possessed Sam a corrupt version of the Sam we know. During his time being trapped on top of the egg by Bad Boy Halo and Anfrost, Sam self-cannibalized because he had no more food and his items were stolen. On a side note, the self-cannibalization was so unnecessary on Awesome Dude's part, but I freaking love it. It just made Sam's descent into madness make a lot of sense. It's totally something I would do in my own stories. I love it. Anyway, I wanted to keep that detail in my design. In the story, I described them as open wounds that don't bleed until the egg completely takes over. That's why when Sam is fully possessed, he's bleeding everywhere. From his wounds, from his mouth, nose, and even the red jewel on his crown is bleeding. My Sam's blood is more reddish brown and desaturated because of the gunpowder in his system. But because the egg has completely taken over, it's a vivid, oversaturated crimson. Vines are coming out of Sam's wounds on his arms and they're crawling all over his body and crown. Veins are noticeable and red over his cheeks and even in his eyes. Basically, I wanted his whole look to seem like an infection. His body is literally being usurped by a being bigger than him, using him as a power source for itself because he's mentally and emotionally vulnerable. The egg is using Sam's blood to make and control the vines, and with every person it traps, it gains a new battery of sorts to strengthening its power. This is terrifyingly draining to Sam's actual mind and soul, making him weak and unable to fight back, so the egg has full free range of its vessel to do whatever it likes. Hey Grimmy, what's with the outfit? I wanted to give Possessed Sam that evilly regal and sassy vibe, like an old Disney villain would. Think of Snow White's evil queen, Jafar, or even Ratigan. The red completely replaces the green of Sam's design. On the cape, there are 4 arm-like designs clawing upwards. I just thought it would be a cool detail. I just wanted to make it campily evil, you know? The use of color throughout the series is very intentional as well. Green is used to represent Sam and when he's in control, as well as to emphasize Dream's eyes, because I just do that anyway. Blue is used to represent both Tommy's eyes and the holy water in a super, not at all obvious hint that Tommy is going to be Sam's saving grace. And red represents the egg and its infection. The background color also matters greatly, as different colors will set the scene and mood. Some things that happen in the canon never end up happening in the story. For example, Sam never cut Punk's arm off, nor did he ever let Quackity in with Dream, as Sam would have been in the process of being possessed by the egg and dormant during that time. Here's a general timeline. January 2021. Sam is trapped by Bad Boy Halo and Anfrost. March 2021. Tommy loses his last life, / is revived, plus Dream is trapped by the egg. April 25th, 2021, Red Banquet scene. The egg starts taking over everything, his defeat at Tommy's hands happens in like a day essentially, so by April 26th everything's figured out. Everybody makes up and Phil and Techno go find Sam. This takes a few months, so let's say they arrive at Sam's castle on November 28th, 2021. In the canon, this is when Dream breaks out of prison. They break Sam out and then it takes a few more months for him to get back to the SMP, so let's say by June 6, 2022, they've made it back. In the canon, this date is when Dream Foolish and Sam Law happens after Dream takes Sam's life in the prison, and it's also the date when Wilbur confronts Dream with Tommy. The end scene / shot of Sam enjoying pumpkin pie with Foolish takes place in November 2022, the same time when the main story law with Dream and Tommy took place. We good? Great. We start in January 2021. Sam has been trapped by Bad and Anfrost. He's been there for a bit and the egg has infiltrated his mind. He's hungry, confused and alone. His memories and thoughts are a mess. Tommy and Puffy come rescue him and bring him home. Here's the main difference. Instead of drinking the water, Sam waits for them to leave and then destroys the bottle. Fran is scared. The egg starts whispering and confirming Sam's fears to him, that everybody is a threat to each other, that nobody will ever truly be safe with those like Dream on the server. The egg is essentially speeding up Sam's descent into madness, emphasizing that he needs to lock everybody up for their own good. Everybody's voices are too loud, especially Dream's. Nobody except Foolish makes an attempt to reach out to Sam to check on him, and by then it's far too late. In the prison, Dream is tormenting Sam, taunting him with words and threats, making Sam spiral. Despite that, Sam believes Dream can't actually do anything when he's trapped in the prison. And then on March 2021, Tommy dies. Whatever control Sam had over himself is completely destroyed as pure rage and hurt takes over, which the egg takes advantage of to chip away at his mind. Sam attacks Dream and, using the egg's brainwashing abilities, scours the prisoner's mind for information. He finds the knowledge of the revival book, as well as everything about Dream and his past. Dream becomes trapped and cocooned by the egg. He's terrified and confused, but he can't fight back. In Sam's mindscape, Dream becomes a part of the newly formed hive mind. It's an empty space with nothing but vines, ready for the others. Sam revives Tommy, who is confused at his appearance and what just happened. Sam is friendly and happy to have brought the boy back, but by the time they arrive to the prison lobby, Tommy is furious at Sam. He yells at him, Sam is confused and hurt, but lets Tommy go. Only now does he realize what he actually did to Dream and what he's let the egg done to him. He tries to run to Church Prime and the holy water, but the egg stops him. Vines from the surrounding area trapping Sam as he claims the egg tricked him. The egg laughs at him for being tricked so easily. Sam is dragged into the egg room, dormant. Time skip to April 25th, 2021, the Red Banquet is happening. Foolish is killed by Antfrost, which triggers possessed Sam to awaken and trap the attendants of the banquet, cocooning them all like he did Dream. Foolish, having lost a life with the egg in his head, jumps into the holy water at his home. There he gets a vision of Sam trapped in his mindscape. We're still April 25th. The egg has trapped everyone. It doesn't even acknowledge the people Sam cares about. Outside, Phil has felt that something is very wrong and, worried for Techno, came to help. At this, the egg recognizes Phil as the old friend Sam had forgotten from years ago. This is actually canon. Sam and Phil knew each other in the past before Sam had made the clone machine. It taunts Phil, then captures him. In the mindscape, Phil sees actual Sam trapped on a throne of fleshy vines. He can sense all of the other members of the Dream SMP, including Techno. He tries to call out to his friend, but the vines in the mindscape stop him. The egg's only more powerful with every person it traps, and its reach goes even further, able to snatch those as far away as Skeppy and those in Kinoko Kingdom. The only ones it doesn't trap are NPCs and the Ghost, for reasons explained later. Sam Nook is trying to defend the Big Innet Hotel from the vines, but they keep forming. Tommy runs to him, asking what's happening, and Sam Nook explains that he's lost all contact with Sam. They realize the egg has possessed Sam, and that drinking holy water alone won't be strong enough to get rid of the possession. Tommy remembers Fran, and they leave to get her. At Rambo and Tubbo's house, they're trying to protect Michael from the vines. A flash of lightning destroys the vines and the front of the house. Tommy and Sam Nook get Fran. Meanwhile, the egg is tormenting the people in the mindscape, dragging their memories and thoughts to the forefront and putting them on blast for everybody. And then Tommy, Sam Nook, and Fran confront the egg. For a moment, Sam returns in control, but the egg's hatred takes over almost instantly and it attacks them. Fran tries to fight, but the egg punches back. Sam Nook grabs both her and Tommy and runs away. The egg is almost about to catch them, but lightning destroys it. It's Foolish in his giant form, holding Tubbo, Rambo, Ghostbur, Friend, Michelle, and Michael. Sam Nook lands on his hand, and they all return to his home away from the vines, where Foolish has built an egg-proof pyramid covered in holy water. They all go in, and the vines are stopped by the holy water. The survivors confront the egg. It exposes Sam's thoughts, worries, and memories to both the survivors and the trapped inhabitants. Foolish forms a plan to get rid of the egg. That's it. It's basically exposition. The gore bits aren't actually happening, it's a visual representation of Sam's mental state as his entire being is being exposed. The guts in this particular frame are just vines, not his actual internal organs. Once again, representative of the infection consuming him. The egg is tormenting Foolish, calling him a fake friend, among other things. Sam, in the mindscape, is aware and hurt, wanting to reassure Foolish he's done nothing wrong. Foolish leaves, and the egg sees Tommy, targeting him too. The egg uses Dream's memories and mannerisms to freak Tommy out, guilt-tripping and accusing the boy. Sam Nook comes to the rescue and pulls him back into the pyramid where Foolish is explaining the plan. The egg is digging down under the earth to break into the pyramid. It does and traps Tubbo and Rambo instantly, taunting them. It tries to go after Tommy, but is slowed down by Foolish and Sam Nook. The egg has no use for Sam Nook, as it's just a robot made of redstone, but promises to come back for it later. It follows and corners Tommy down the hall to a cramped room with a lever, ignoring Ghostbur, who is looking after the kids and pets. It taunts Tommy, guilt-tripping him as he explains how everything that happened is because Sam cared about him. Drinking a water-breathing potion, Tommy, in tears, pulls the lever and the room starts filling in holy water. In an attempt to at least get rid of Tommy, who's been nothing but a pain in the egg's side, it attacks him, feral and angry. But it's stopped by Sam resisting in the mindscape, as the holy water, a moment of uncontrolled rage from the egg, gave Sam room to fight back. As he does, the egg screams that they're too intertwined. If the egg is exorcised from Sam, he will lose all his lives and die. Sam doesn't care. Sam apologizes to Tommy, who is watching all of this, before screaming and writhing in pain. The egg is exorcised, and Sam's body dissipates into nothing. Tommy is left alone to cry. It's now April 26th. Tommy goes to check on the others, and they've been freed. They all run back to the egg room, where everybody else has been freed as well. Everybody checks up on each other, embarrassed and apologetic, as they all know each other's memories and motives now. Phil leaves after finding Techno, the latter following him. They don't notice Ghostbur, who is saddened by Phil not talking to him. Fran is sad too, as Sam isn't here with her, as everybody else is renewing friendships. Ghostbur and Fran reassure her as Fundy approaches the ghost of his father. Phil and Techno start the several-month journey to get to Sam's original body, as the one destroyed by the exorcism was a clone. At the prison, the vines have torn through the obsidian, and Dream manages to fall into the water. Having been trapped the longest, Sam's memories, pain and suffering, a lot caused by Dream, are the strongest. Essentially, Dream's been forced to experience all the pain he caused to the inhabitants, other than Tommy. He's basically been traumatized by himself. He's also lost all knowledge of the revival book, Sam having used the egg's brainwashing power to destroy it. On the banks of the water, Puns runs up to him, followed by Sapnap and George. The rest of the inhabitants are figuring out what to do next, getting the tools needed to get rid of the now wilting vines, thinking of plans to rebuild and trap the egg properly. Sapnap, George and Puns return with Dream, who is terrified. Nobody is sure what to do, as Dream has been a tormentor for most people on the server. Tommy and Tubbo decide to step forward, angry. Dream thinks they're going to kill him, and he'd let them if they wanted to. But they don't. They give him a bucket and shovel to help with the cleanup. They don't forgive him, but there's better things to do right now than squabble. Everybody goes their direction to do that too, and Dream is left alone. Not knowing what else to do, he follows Sapnap and George, who are cleaning the community house. Seeing him, they're still hurt by his actions and probably won't forgive him for a while, but they also want a fresh start. They decide to give him a second chance and tell him to join them in the cleaning up. Dream smiles and calls Puns over. Months later, on the 28th November 2021, in canon, the date Dream broke out of prison, Techno and Phil finally make it to the original Sam's castle and find him in the laboratory. Phil reminisces on his friendship and fallout with Sam. He laments having left him alone like that, thinking he should have tried harder than just leave him to his own devices. In the chamber, OG Sam, trapped in his own mind, doesn't know if he's alive or dead. Most memories are corrupted other than his original ones and the SMP Sams. As the song goes, in truth, neither Phil nor Sam want to be alone, but they've locked away their original feelings for the sake of survival. Phil considers just leaving Sam in the chamber, and it saves him from suffering. Techno remembers a few times he met Sam in the SMP, and remembered the fun he had. He says that if they leave him here, they'll be denying him all the happy and fun times he had with his friends too. Skipping the melodrama, Techno breaks Sam out. The original body of Sam falls to the ground, and Phil helps him up. Slowly, Sam gets his memories together, having gained his clones that everybody on the SMP knew. Phil and Sam hug, and Techno punches him on the arm for trapping him. Sam is hesitant to return to the SMP. Techno skips the drama again and drags him home. On the way, they talk and discuss about the revival book disappearing, among other things. Months later, they return to the SMP on June 6, 2022. In canon, this is a lore moment between Foolish, Dream and Sam after Sam's death at Dream's hand at the prison, as well as the day Wilbur and Tommy confront Dream. There are a bunch of familiar and unfamiliar faces. Fran notices Sam and immediately runs towards him. The others follow to welcome him, especially Tommy, who has grown. Dream approaches too, feeling uncomfortable as there is a lot of bad blood between him and Sam. The others of the server haven't fully forgiven Dream yet, and a few, like Crackety and Jack Manifold, probably won't for a while, but everybody is giving him a cautious second chance to do and be better. Despite everything that happened, Sam smiles to him. They both agree that there are a lot of apologies to be said. As the others talk, Phil walks by everyone to Ghostspur, who is very excited to see him. Phil hugs the ghost of his son, and the latter is surprised yet delighted. Phil reaches out for Fundy too. In limbo, Wilbur, who's been there for much longer, feels the warmth of the hug and is confused. At the same time, the fabric of his limbo rips apart, and Kristen, the goddess of death, has finally found him. Time skip to later, Sam sits among his friends, surrounded by their shenanigans. He happily shares a pumpkin pie with Foolish and his doozers, just like the one he used to make before becoming warden. It's November 2022. The end. So, what happens after? Well, the server returns to just as it was before. Just a bunch of friends messing around and having fun. Will things always be happy and perfect? Probably not, because people don't work like that. But they can figure out disputes much better now. It's a happy ending. Everybody's trying their best to become better and just live their lives. They're just having fun. I imagine the genre now would be like slice of life or something like that. Less drama and sadness. It's just slice of life. I have some questions. Some of these are vague, some of these are specific, and I will just go through them. Why wasn't insert random character mentioned? Either they weren't introduced in the story yet, yogurt, or I didn't have a reason to mention them yet, Mamacita and Mexican Dream. Simple as that. I generally don't involve what I consider joke characters into my story, and I was keeping the canon timeline in mind, so some characters just weren't introduced yet, so I didn't mention them. I did make slight mentions of Sam Bucket at the end of my fanfic, as well as to some of the later newcomers of the server, like Erin and Amesy and such, but that was more in the fanfiction. How come you didn't mention Tales from the SMP? I don't really have an interest in Tales of the SMP. It's why I barely mentioned it. I vaguely hint at it with Carl Jacobs' memories returning towards the end, but generally time travel stuff just doesn't tickle my fancy, so I leave it alone. It's still canon, because it's still a canon event, but I don't mention it. Why did Dream XD do nothing? Because that would ruin my story. Let me write my weird little possession story in peace. If you want an actual reason other than me not wanting to deal with him, I write XD with the mentality that he can only appear when summoned or in people's dreams. So George was trapped, XD didn't have a mean to physically interfere since he mostly sticks to George's dreams. At this point in the story, Foolish hadn't met him yet. Think of it as a vampire. They can't enter your home if you don't actively invite them in. XD can't get involved unless you directly invite/summon him to do so. Maybe he pulled a George and just slept through it all. Why did the egg not go after the NPCs and ghosts? Despite having the knowledge of the revival book, the egg didn't go after the ghosts because 1, it would have to go after them manually to revive and trap them, which would take time. 2, it was obsessed with getting rid of Tommy and the others first. And 3, that would invite Dream XD to interfere because the ghosts belong to him. This is mainly referring to my various headcanons about death and the afterlife in the SMP, which I'll explain a little bit later. But essentially, the ghosts would have been a lot of effort that wasn't worth it. And the NPCs, like the little kids and pets, they're not members of the SMP like Sam, Tommy, and Foolish are. They're mobs or items, and therefore do not have the soul the egg needs to be more powerful. He could take them over, but it would be like a drop in the ocean, not nearly powerful enough or worth the effort, so it leaves him alone. What happened to the egg? It's still there, but it's now buried under a mountain of obsidian, and the room is filled with holy water. And there's a bunch of signs deterring people from entering the room and giving explanations as to what happened and why not to mess with it. Like how Sam Bucket did. The room has become blocked off and is covered. It can't escape now unless someone undoes all of that. Mums-in-law? Kristen is the goddess of death and Phil's wife. Because the SMP is Dream XD's domain, instead of going to the actual afterlife, the members get 3 lives, which is not normal, and when they actually die, they're stuck in the limbo. Kristen noticed how those who were dying weren't coming to her like they should, and she's been trying ever since to break into the limbos. But because it's not her domain, this is particularly difficult. In the canon lore, she's able to get a physical form before the SMP gets nuked and save the Syndicate, something she couldn't do beforehand, and it took a lot of effort. In my Ghostbird Gets a Happy Ending video, she's finally able to find him and brings him into the afterlife where she reunites him with Friend. Then they go on a mission to find the rest of the SMP's ghosts and bring them where they belong to in the afterlife. The same thing happened here with Wilbur. Wilbur never gets revived in this AU, but because Phil is able to set his old heart free in the final episode, like Sam did, him hugging Ghostbird and accepting both him and Fundy fully, it gave Wilbur a jolt of warmth and love from Phil that Kristen was able to track down and find Wilbur with. So what happened to the ghosts? After that, Kristen and Wilbur went about finding the other ghosts of the server and bringing them to the afterlife. Ghostbird got the same offer, but he decided to stay with Phil, Fundy, Yogurt, and Friend for now. Because Phil set his old heart free, I don't know any other way how to express that, Kristen has a doorway via him to interact with the SMP. I hope that makes sense. What happened to Sam's clones? Sam Bucket? After original Sam's body was freed from the chamber, all the remaining clones dissipated into nothing. Our Sam that we know was already dead and gone, so really the only clone that remained was Sam Bucket. Hence why at the end, it's mentioned the members found lots of buckets, but no Sam Bucket in the undergrounds. I'd love to know more about Philza and Sam's backgrounds. Unfortunately, that is not my story to tell. We'd need our Sam Dude or Philza to explain that. I'm just using the lore we actually know, and we don't know how they met, just that they were friends and then they had a falling out. So I can't help with that, unfortunately. Question. I've always wondered if this was actually canon to SMP, what would happen to Wilbur, Quackity, the villains? What do you think how they would end season 3 after he left? Basically, it's just like what would happen to like all the normal story that happens in the Dream SMP canon. Basically, we just skip all the drama and jump directly to happy ending. You know, Wilbur's with Kristen anyway, so he's staying dead, and the others don't have a reason to be villains anymore. Like, all the reasons to being the way they are just kind of became pointless because everybody's not doing well, so they have to start from fresh. So like all the drama that we have in the Dream SMP canon, we just skip it. What were the various elements that help you flesh out a storyline for the AU? The songs mostly helped me refine the details. I also reused the story formula of the Cursed Town AU, so it was just a question of making it canon accurate. That's why it took me so long to like refine it, because we kept getting new lore stuff and I kept having to figure it out. The story changed multiple times. Like the main idea of the story was exactly the same, but like the ending and how they went about things was completely different. What was your favorite chapter to animate / write? My favorite animatic was probably the last one to make, because it was really cute and I like drawing Philza and Sam. And my favorite to write was probably either the first one or the third one, because the egg is very fun to write. In your AU, would Dream go back to his manipulative ways, or would he be a better person? Also, would Wilbur ever be revived? Basically, Dream was basically traumatized into being a better person. So he's trying to be better now, and some of the others supervise him to make sure he doesn't slip up, Quackity and Jack Manifold. And no, like I just said a few times, Wilbur is never revived. He's happy with Mumsa. What was the egg gonna do with everyone it captured? If it managed to capture everyone, it would use everybody as a power source until they died, essentially. And then its goal was to jump from server to server and just do more of that. Just become powerful. Just become a virus, essentially. Does Fran like Sam Nook, or is it more of a they aren't the same kind of thing? Fran likes Sam Nook, but he's a robot and not her owner. He acts very different. His voice isn't the same. She doesn't see him as a Sam, just another being on the server. Will the egg return at all? Nope, unless somebody actively tries to free it. No. Why did the egg only use Sam? Convenience. Possessing too many people at once would stretch it thin, so having all its power in one made it easy to trap / control everybody. Can't have someone like Technoblade breaking out. What inspired you to do this? My love for character Sam, mainly. The overall concept I found interesting, and the songs I used. All the songs I used to listen to them like on repeat as a teenager. So it's basically just me doing justice to younger me. Will there be more Dream SMP AU stuff? Probably not of the Cursed Town AU or of this AU, because they're kind of done stories. I don't feel like milking them to hell and back. But our Sam Dad AU, there might be. Maybe, we'll see. So conclusion. I just wanted to draw character Sam with freaky expressions, okay? I wanted to draw all out evil looking Sam because it was fun, and I like my design for him, and I just wanted to experiment with it. And I like the songs I used, and I just wanted to have fun. As a conclusion, I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to have a goofy, silly time. And if I make you cry in the process, then I win. And that's essentially it. Big thank you to my channel members: Melohai, Peppermint, Conora Star, Obsidian Eyes, Tammy, Lady Gwen 88, Rosalia Gaming, Secret Rose, Halliday 316, Kirby Knight, Painted Siren, Buttercup, Hatsui Kaz, Four Eyes, Gordon Chakasim, Ember Ray, Wover Comet, Madison Coffee, Scourge the Cat 67, Eleanor, Alvex Arts, The Gaming Animator, Michael, Riley Ryrie, Face, Sam / Gay Squad / James, Keaton JB, Gatchagirl 1911, Nick Star, Draco Fang, Onyx, Kelly Sleepy, Ava Oakart, Cam, Fake Texas, Artsby, and Melon Comics. That's everything for today. That's the explanation. Thank you everybody for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.